Rivalry, a competition for the same objective or for superiority in the same field.
This is the group. Look at me, this is the group. When the team says, let's get them, they talking about this group. Make the plays, man. The plays ain't gonna make themselves. I'm looking at the playmakers. Let's go, playmakers on 3. 1, 2, 3. Playmakers. Let's get it.
Looking for superiority in the division, the Steelers would have to compete against their most respected rival and the NFL's leading offense, the Baltimore Ravens.
Hey, let's go, man. We fight every step today, dog. It's the rivalry today. Now what you say is what you can do. Let's dominate today. Win on 3. 1, 2, 3. Win.
Week 11 of the 2024 NFL season was the first divisional game for the Steelers, and this matchup was well worth the wait.
Yep, this the one. This the one. This the one right here. It's not redemption, though. It's just me. Hey, man. Small words, bro. Not a lot to say. Bully the bully today. They grab their grabs. That's all that matters. Starts up front, ends up front. Let's believe it. Let's go. Hey, let's hold on 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's hold.
It's a two-headed monster in the Ravens' backfield. King Henry has already hit the 1,000-yard mark. He's a big back, so you better be ready to go big game hunting. And you better not do it alone. Bring your friends.
Here we go.
This pass is caught, and that's a touchdown.
That's the way to work. Come on.
He's hit that sack.
The Steelers win the football game. Let's go. Come get it. You know what it is.
This one is in the history books.
Here we go.
Welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Hi everybody, welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show. I'm Missy Matthews. If you thought the Steelers and Ravens' first meeting was going to be a shootout, you may be new to the rivalry. It's best to always throw records out the window and to prepare to buckle up your chin strap. With a 18-16 final in Pittsburgh's favor, it marked the 8th consecutive game that neither team scored more than 20 points. Add in some physicality and chippiness, and you have the recipe for what transpired on Sunday. For more on the Steelers' first AFC North victory, let's welcome in Bob Pompeani, who's with Coach Tomlin. Bob.
All right, Missy, thanks very much. It's always a special win when it comes against the Baltimore Ravens. The Steelers have now won 8 of the last 9 meetings. Coach Tomlin, let's talk first of all about Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's having an unbelievable season, and yet comes in here, and you guys limit him to 16 points. What is the recipe that you use when it comes to Lamar Jackson?
You know, I don't know that there's some secret formula that we have that no one else has. I think we start first and foremost with the premise of regardless of what we do, we realize it's going to be a unit effort. When you play someone with that type of unique talent and skill set and schematics to match, you better play coordinated. You better play hard collectively. Everyone better understand their roles and what it is that we do. And I think if there is a secret formula, it's just that. We don't run things that we're not comfortable with. We want the guys playing fast. We want them communicating. We want their athleticism to show, to match his. And so that's probably the general principle, probably more than anything else. I don't know that there's anything earth-shattering or groundbreaking about what we're doing schematically.
Keeping him in contain sounds easy. It's not easy for a lot of teams. And if you look at his numbers, I mean, when he's on the run, he can make things happen in the air, and he's done it this year. You seem to have successfully done that largely. Is that the number one issue you tell your team?
Yeah, he's dangerous outside the pocket, but I think just, you know, in all circumstances, you better keep pressure on him and whatever is required to do that. A guy with his talents and his capability, oftentimes 4 is not enough, even if it's a good 4-man rush. We like our 4-man rush, but the escape lanes and his athleticism oftentimes is too much for that collective to bear. And so we just start with the general principle that we're going to rush as many as required to keep pressure on them, and we don't make it too complex, to be quite honest with you.
Last week at your press conference, you cited Isaac Redman. In this rivalry, there's always somebody who makes a name for himself. And you had a couple of young guys, plus a newcomer here, make plays, all of them defensive turnovers. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that's what you were talking about, and you got it right off the bat with Nick Herbig. How big was that, considering that Henry doesn't fumble, hadn't fumbled in over 500 carries?
You know, it's just a function of our culture that we try to build. It's less about the opponents, and obviously we respect the big runners' ball security, but That's our agenda, and it's the same every week regardless of opponent. When we're in chase position, we want to display ball awareness and hunt it. And Herbig was in that very position. He was in chase position, and he hunted the football. When people are hung up, though, we're also interested in raking the ball, and you saw an example of that on that screenplay when Likely was trying to get to the ground, and Patrick Crean was trying to rip that ball from him. And so it's a cultural thing. Grady Brown runs the turnover culture. He does a great job. Our entire staff does a great job in terms of weekly presentations and drill work to push us in that direction.
You talked a lot about Patrick Queen and his first opportunity against the team that didn't sign him. You guys brought him here, and you decided to give him the opportunity to go out for the coin flip. Tell us about that whole situation. What was his reaction when you told him?
Really, I didn't think long about it. It just seemed like right for us. He's been that type of a guy for us. Probably the only reason he hadn't been elected captain for us is because he's so new to us. But in terms of his on-field job responsibilities, he is our defensive quarterback. He's in all defensive circumstances. There's not a package that we have that doesn't involve him. And so it just seemed like right, playing his old team and with his job responsibilities. And obviously our captains welcomed his addition. They realized the importance personally of that game to him. And I think it's important that we recognize the human component of what we do from time to time. That was a personal game for him for a lot of reasons, obviously. And it's okay to acknowledge that. It's okay to support that and tee that up. And it was kind of a component of that. But down in and down out, week in and week out, PQ doesn't need a lot of motivation, man. He's motivated from within. He's trying to be a great player and be what it is we need him to be, and we're appreciative of that.
Another young guy who made his impression and significant impact was the rookie, Peyton Wilson. And I thought it was interesting that you guys talked about, you brought it up afterwards, and he also, that you actually practice that play and the coaching that goes into that play, realizing he has the speed to cover guys like Justice Hill.
Yeah, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out that they were going to be going at Peyton. Their third down back, Hill, is a veteran guy and an integral component of what they do. He shows up in red zone passing game, screens and so forth, passing circumstances. That happens to be the circumstances in which Peyton plays. And so we knew that they would identify that matchup. It was important that we prepared him not only for the screens, but the rails and the things that come off the screen. And so we worked it and talked it a lot, but he's deserving of the credit. He put the work in, he positioned himself, and obviously he made a spectacular play on that rail route.
No question about it. Those plays are significant in big-time rivalries. We saw that against the Ravens. And there's another divisional opponent coming up on a short week. It's a trip to Cleveland. And it may not be as easy as some people think when you look at the records. We're going to talk about the Browns, what they've been doing, coming up in a little bit. Missy, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Bob. And Thursday night will mark the first of two meetings between Pittsburgh and Cleveland in a 3-week span. For the second time this season, the Steelers won a game without scoring a touchdown. And while it's not ideal, it does make you appreciate the Wizard of Oz. Kicker Chris Boswell is now the first player in NFL history to make 6 field goals in 3 career games. The 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show will be right back.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Well, last week, Pittsburgh improved its record against Lamar Jackson to 4-1. And this week, they're hoping to even things up on a short week. Under Coach Tomlin, the Steelers are 9-10 on Thursday Night Football. And for more on how they prepared during crunch time, let's go back to Bob and Coach. Guys.
All right, Missy, thanks very much. Short week. What are the problems associated, Coach, with a short week, especially one that involves going to a division rival?
First and foremost, as coaches and leaders, we got to make good strategic decisions about what to run, what we can handle on a limited amount of reps, what's worth the risk of repping on a limited number of reps, how to allocate our time. There's a limited amount of time, obviously, in a short week, and so where do you allocate your time? Do you lean more on those downs that are weighted differently or those circumstances that are weighted differently, red zone, third down, 2-minute, things of that nature. And so there's some strategic questions to be asked and answered when you got a limited amount of time. That's first and foremost. A second thing that's very significant is how you work the team, what physical state they're in, what does your preparation week look like. If you got enough people healthy, obviously running is a major component of preparation to see things at full speed, to get a sense of timing. But if you can't run, the perspective and the in-helmet work is still significant. And so the walkthrough / practice scenario component is a major component of putting together a plan and readying the group. And then lastly, we'll travel to Cleveland on Wednesday night. And so we'll have Wednesday evening and Thursday during the day. And oftentimes on a 7-week cycle, on a 7-day cycle, that time is loosely organized. But on a short week, man, how do you utilize that time? How do you get 8 pounds in a 5-pound bag from a prep standpoint? Those are the things that have our attention on a short week.
Deshaun Watson's out. You have Jameis Winston. You know a lot about him. He's been up and down. Some games, 3 touchdowns, followed up with 3 interceptions. But he's a guy who can make things happen. I'm sure he has your attention.
I think that aptly describes him, man. He is what we describe in this business as a gunslinger, meaning that he is going to take his shots. He is aggressive and competitive. There may be some opportunities for you in terms of getting the ball, but that's not going to slow him down from taking the shots. And so the up and down that you mentioned, sometimes it manifests itself in the form of 300 and 400-yard games, and sometimes it manifests itself in the terms of 3 interception games. And so we better be on the screws. We know that the ball is coming. That's not in question. He's been aggressive in terms of his play virtually all of his life, and that's not going to change. And we better be ready to meet that aggression with equal aggression.
Even though they traded Amari Cooper, a big play guy for them, Jerry Jeudy stepped up. He had a big day against the Saints last week. You also have Cedric Tillman, who seems to have taken over a lot of the responsibilities. That's a guy who's emerging there. And David Njoku. It seems like every game you play against him, you have to watch him.
Yeah, they got a deep receiving core, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Moore in the slot as well. They got plenty of talent. They just elevated Tony that they picked up from Kansas City early in the year. He'd been on their practice squad. They activated him last week, and he played in some Packers football for them. And so they probably moved on from Cooper because of the depth at the position that they had and the evolution of young guys. Again, as you mentioned, Jeudy is not new to the NFL, but he's new to them and has gotten comfortable. He's coming off a really big game. Tillman is a second-year player, and he's taking the step that you see most second-year players take. No questioning his talent. We did a lot of work on him when he came out of Tennessee, and he's a big, strong guy. He carries the run game fight. He's capable of making combat catches, and so I don't think that any of us are surprised by the uptick in his production as well.
And you look at, you've referred to him as Mr. Chubb. He got injured, he's back. He only had 11 carries the other day, and I'm wondering, is it the same Chubb that you've seen over the years, or a little bit more apprehensive considering the injury?
It's the same Chubb. They might be utilizing him different. Obviously, they've gone through not only a quarterback change, but a play caller change. Ken Dorsey is their play caller, and if you remember Ken from his days in Buffalo, it was less run game centric in Buffalo than in Cleveland, and that may have something to do with the lack of touches as well, just in terms of the play caller's approach to football. We got so much respect for Mr. Chubb and what he's capable of doing, not only now, but his body of work. Make no mistake, whether they choose to run it or throw it, if he's in the game, he'll have our attention on Thursday night.
And they certainly have playmakers on defense. You know a lot about Myles Garrett. They traded Zadarius Smith, but it seems like Denzel Ward is just making play after play back there. And, you know, I think he leads the NFL in passes defensed. He just seems to get better with age, and you got to be aware of him down the field, I would imagine.
Man, not only him, but they've got really good continuity all over the secondary. Their top 3 corners, man, have been in place for a number of years. Their safety tandem has been in place now for a couple of years. And so they got that continuity. And if you remember last year, man, they were number 1 in football in a lot of things relative to the pass. Passing yards per game, passing yards per attempt. I think they were 8th in turnovers. They got a group, and they got really good continuity within that group and on the coaching staff. Can't say enough about their veteran defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz. He's been around this league, man, for over a quarter century. He's got experience. He knows how to divide the labor up and utilize the talent. And so, particularly on a short week, a guy like him is particularly dangerous in terms of the type of things that he's willing and capable of throwing at you from a preparedness standpoint. Really has our attention.
All right, Steelers and Browns, another big battle coming up Thursday night. When we come back, we'll get Mike Tomlin's keys to this matchup. Missy, let's turn it back over to you.
Well, it is a quick turnaround, but it will be the Steelers' one and only game on Thursday night this season after having 2 such games in 2023. And coming up next, a special honor for Steelers cornerback Corey Trice, who has fought through adversity in life and on the football field.
This award means so much to me because it's kind of really like a testament to everything I've been through for real, and it really just shows whoever going through anything for real, you just gotta just keep going, because there's always another side to it.
Now it's time for a Yinz Chat predictive question. Will there be a Russell Wilson to George Pickens touchdown pass against the Browns? Head to the Steelers mobile app and answer for a chance to win a mini helmet signed by Cam Hayward. And remember to play every week for a chance to win the season-long grand prize. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
When your teammates vote on something, you know that it means something, and not just to be a team captain or the team MVP. The Ed Block Courage Award is given to a player who has overcome adversity, and it's no surprise this year that Corey Trice's teammates noticed his hard work and sacrifice to get back to football.
Adversity always gonna happen, but I always look at it like either you can sit in it or you can see the other side of it, and that's what makes adversity good sometimes. When you push through, you look back and like, dang, man, so happy I didn't stop, I didn't quit.
So Nick's in the shotgun, has McLaughlin to his right. Nick's back, looking over the middle of the field. It's intercepted. And there's Corey Trice in the back of the end zone with his first career interception.
I was like, I gotta catch it. Catch it with my eyes, catch it with my hands, I have to catch it.
In a time of need, Corey Trice stands tall, getting his first pick.
Way to fight.
And welcome to the 32nd annual Arthur J. Rooney Sr. Courage House Luncheon.
I'm up here, man, to acknowledge Corey Trice, and that's another awesome lesson for these young people because this guy faced a great deal of adversity in a short period of time. And so I don't know that any of us are surprised about the plays that you mentioned. As a matter of fact, we're excited about the many more that await him. So it's with great honor, man, that I present Corey Trice as this year's recipient of the Ed Block Courage Award.
This award means so much to me because it's kind of really like a testament to everything I've been through for real, and it really just shows whoever going through anything for real, you just gotta just keep going, because there's always another side to it, and man, just know your story is never over as long as you never quit.
And you can catch other exclusive features on all of the Steelers' digital platforms. Well, Pittsburgh is riding a 5-game winning streak and holding on to first place in the AFC North after beating Baltimore on Sunday. The Steelers are 6-1 in division play going back to last season, but hoping to change the outcome of their last trip to Cleveland. For more on how they can do it, it's time for Keys to the Game presented by your neighborhood Ford store. Here's Bob and Coach. Guys.
All right, Missy, thanks very much. One of the things the Browns have done is given up a lot of sacks. And I know T.J. Watt's had some of his best games. I think it's 17 sacks in 12 games. Jack Conklin's back. He's the guy he's going to have to take on. Do you expect them to help him, especially given his history?
I don't know, man. I think we're going to have to find out in terms of that. And the reason I say that, their left tackle went down with a major injury this past week, and so they're going to have a new left tackle. Conklin is a veteran. He's highly compensated. They acquired him, I think, from Tennessee because of those things. And so when you got a veteran guy, a guy that's highly compensated, working with the backup, most of the time, even if a guy the likes of TJ Watt is opposite of Conklin, that backup or that inexperienced guy is usually going to get the schematic help in one-dimensional moments. And so they got an issue to deal with there, but I would imagine that they're going to help that backup. Most people in those circumstances, that's where your attention goes, obviously, because we got capable people over on that side as well.
Obviously, the key is going to be Chris Boswell. He's been terrific so far. We talk a lot about him, but one guy I don't think people have talked a lot about is Corliss Waitman, who had to come into this organization after the injury there. And you know what you expect, holding all these different things, but no one's mentioned his name, which I imagine is always a good thing for a punter.
Yeah, but he's done an awesome job for us. And I'm just talking specifically about his punting. His ability to hold is probably one of the reasons why we chose him from the collective. We knew we were potentially going to have a little bit of instability in punting because of the circumstance, and so we didn't want to compromise our field goal kicking in the midst of that. And so his experience with Boz as a holder really gave him a leg up in the punting battle. He's done both equally well since coming back to us.
Yeah, and field position I thought was a key to that Baltimore game as well. I mean,
Big
every
time.
71-yard punt at one point, and they had bad starting position. So hopefully that continues in Cleveland. Best of luck.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, that's going to do it for our program tonight. Again, the Steelers try to get to 9-2 as they make the trip to Cleveland, Ohio. That game coming up tomorrow night. That's going to do it for our program. For Missy Matthews and head coach Mike Tomlin, I'm Bob Pompeani. Thanks for joining us on this another edition of the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show. We'll see you next week.